So we went through Warhammer 1 in its entirety, and we've already done Eye of the Vortex for Warhammer 2. So now it only makes sense that we talk about Mortal Empires, the sandbox that was added in. Now, for little context, the whole plan of the Warhammer trilogy was a three games. In each game, the first game was the old world, the second game was the new world, and the third game was whatever was east of the Badlands. The Badlands and whatever was more east, with the demons of chaos, of course. So with the second game, what we have here is it's a large part of the world. It's about 2/3. It's 2/3 complete, and then Warhammer 3 completes it with Immortal Empires. But that being said, I think Mortal Empires not only is still really fun, it just is, but it's also better than Immortal Empires in some ways. Don't get me wrong, Immortal Empires and Mortal Empires, if I had to pick one, I would still pick Immortal Empires because it's a bigger map, there's more factions, there's more choices, all that. But Mortal Empires does hold some pretty big advantages. Firstly, the graphics. Now, okay, I know what you're thinking. What do you mean? Warhammer 3 looks better. What are you talking? Look at those fucking trees. And you're right. That is fucking terrible. What the fuck is this? Yeah, the trees are still pretty bad looking. Some of them, in some places they look okay. Like the wood elf trees look a bit better. The Badland doesn't have any trees, so that's probably the best place for all the trees. You know, these tropical trees look pretty good, and all these. Why are there so many trees in the desert? Where's the water? That's beside the point. So the trees are still pretty bad. I mean, oh my god. Oh hell no. What the fuck? What is this? So the trees are still terrible. I've established that. But I just think the way the game is, the visuals are performed, it fits the Warhammer universe better. Because the Warhammer universe is a grim place to live. You don't want to be in the Warhammer universe. And I think that these graphics fit it perfectly. Like, you know, the old world. Like with the Empire. Yeah, it's a bastion of humanity and like it's safer than most places. But, you know, there's still always, like, look at the woods. Like, you don't know what's in there. There could be always, like, goblins or, like, thieves to come and kill you. It looks like a dangerous place. And, of course, when you add in corruption, the corruption in this game looks the best in the Warhammer franchise. Like, yeah, that looks spooky. That looks like something I don't want to mess with. You know, like the world dying and, like, turning all the trees to dust, all that. And, you know, with the chaos corruption as well. And, you know, like every area in the map is distinct. You know, you got the old world. It's a lot of trees, a lot of stuff like that. Bretonia, it's a bit cleaner, you know, but that doesn't mean there's still danger looking about. The wood elves in their wood forests. The mountains of the dwarves, carved, like, it was like hand carved. Like, it looks great, you know. Karazakrak, look at the detail there. Look at all these little buildings. Look at the little barrels. You know, it's just cool to look at. It's all so cool. You know, as the settlements do get more upgraded, they look different as you upgrade them as well, to an extent. It takes a little bit. It's hard to notice sometimes, but yeah, you can notice sometimes it looks a little cooler. I mean, yeah, where's the water coming from? Why is there water in that mountain? So we've established that the game looks better for the most part, except the trees. In terms of sound quality, the game is also on par with Warhammer 3. The sound quality is the same, but the most important thing, and the reason why you might want to consider going back to Warhammer 2 Mortal Empires, well, there's two reasons. The first one is the factions actually try to make empires. If we toggle Fog of... Where's the button? Okay, now let's try this again. We're gonna toggle the Fog of War, and we're gonna talk about my main positive of this game. The other AI factions actually try to make empires. They try to gain settlements and build an empire. One of the biggest problems with Warhammer 3 is they get to a certain size and then that's it. They'll never get any bigger than that. Whereas with Warhammer 2, give them time and they can build an empire. Like look at look at Reichland. They have 24 settlements and it is turn 85. And that's not bad, but you gotta remember that there are still a couple of, let's say they manage to confederate with the other two empire factions, so that's another 11 settlements they can get. And let's say they're able to beat Sylvania. They defeat Sylvania and they conquer the rest. So in total, I do believe that the empire, with time, can gain up to 40 settlements and gain the entirety of the empire under their control. You know, like who else? Who else we got? We have the High Elves, who control about 2/3 of Lothern, which isn't bad, and they could confederate, but unlike Warhammer 3, the Dark Elves are booking it down. They got 3 armies heading towards the northern part of the island. They already have Malekith's already on the island. So the Dark Elves are actually doing a really good job. I counted they have almost 20 settlements. But considering they're going down and it looks like they're about to conquer all of Lothern. You know, surprisingly, Alithanar has a couple of good settlements and managed to wipe out Morathi for the Dark Elves. You know, legendary lords in this game actually die. I said all of them just laying around doing nothing. The weirdest one is this minor Lisman faction. This faction right here has like 8 settlements. It's like this random mass Lisman faction has 8 settlements and is doing really good. Bretonia is doing all right. Bretonia is a weird one. They tend to be high in the strength rank, but when it comes to actually, you know, making a large empire, they don't do that well. But they're doing fine for this one. You got the Golden Orders. Sylvania is on the ropes out. I had a part in it. I killed Vlad. I helped the Empire kill Vlad, and Manfred's done. The Tomb Kings really don't do that well. Like, if we look at where are they? You know, the other dwarf factions, Clan Angron, he's not doing so good. Yeah, somehow got that settlement, but I think that was Confederation. You know, if we look at the Cult of Sotek, also doing very good. All the Norskin settlements are just kind of divided. The Skaven, yeah, but the Tomb Kings don't. And this is one of the biggest problems. The terrain for the Tomb Kings is awful. Like, if you play Cetra the Imperishable, you start with Khemri. In order to complete the province, you gotta get to Xandri. But the southern Badlands is occupied by Savage Orcs, and they'll fight you. And it takes 3 turns. 3 turns to get from Khemri to Xandri. It's just a terrible layout that is completely fixed in Warhammer 3. I mean, yeah, the biggest problem with the map is this southern region, the desert. The desert's a mess. Like, it is so cramped because they cut it off. They had a hard cutoff with it because they weren't done. They wanted to expand it for Warhammer 3, and I get that. The jungle here is not enough for these lizardmen. Oh, some AI are just incompetent, like Malice has spent 85 turns trying to conquer his starting province. It's been 85 turns and he still hasn't done it. He's been going back and forth and back and forth. He's gone 2 settlements and the Lizardman takes it back. It's a never-ending cycle. The Border Princes, surprisingly, when you don't have ogres and Pirates of Sartosa. The Pirates of Sartosa got wiped out by Talea. That never happens anymore. The Beastmen still conquered Astalia. The Skaven went into Carcassonne and killed them. The Wood Elves are just chilling, as usual. So what makes this game better is the balanced AI. They want to build empires, and they aren't as stupid. But here's the big question. If you want to decide between immortal empires or mortal empires, you're going to have to decide which faction you want to play, because there are certain factions that do better in Warhammer 2 and some that do better in Warhammer 3. Like, take Norska and the Warriors of Chaos. Terrible in Warhammer 2. Okay, Norska's okay, but the Warriors of Chaos are awful. They're like so bad. Why are there trees here? What? Who put these trees here? In Warhammer 3, Norska and the Warriors of Chaos are infinitely better. They just are. You have to accept that. The Skaven are pretty good in Warhammer 3. The Beastmen are pretty good. The factions, the only factions that I would say are better in Warhammer 2 are the Dark Elves, because the slave mechanic they have is completely ruined in Warhammer 3. It's just, that's a fact. The High Elves, to a certain extent, are better than Warhammer 2, but there's still not that much of a difference. I feel like the Empire is better than Warhammer 2 than 3, because the Warhammer 3, they have way too many enemies. Okay, they have the Vampire Counts, they have Festus, they got Wargrave of Rove, they got Beastmen, they got Greenskins. There's too many enemies in Warhammer 3. In Warhammer 2, you have 2 Vampire Counts, and that's about it. That's still hard, but it's still manageable. It's still feasible to beat them back. So overall, Mortal Empires is great and is far better than Warhammer 1 and much better than the Eye of Vortex. And depending on the faction you play, it could be better than Immortal Empires. Important on the could. And the best thing about it is, the dwarves are definitely much better in Warhammer 2. That's just my opinion. In Warhammer 3, they kind of suck. This is a very different game. In Warhammer 2, archers are much more valuable than melee infantry. The archers are king in this game. And now the dwarves, it doesn't exactly apply to the dwarves because their infantry is just really tough to beat. But their archers and artillery are just the way to go. Like, you get some infantry, but the archers, there are what's going to beat them. And the infantry are so tough that they'll hold the line long enough for the archers to kill them, or the artillery. So overall, Mortal Empires is still very fun, and you could go back to it and still have a great time. I do recommend you do pick up Warhammer 2, so you get all the factions for the races, and you get access to more factions if you want to play Immortal Empires. Like, if I had to put it, I would say you definitely get the base game Warhammer 1 and 2 and 3 for Immortal Empires, and then if you want DLCs, well, that's kind of up to you. You gotta pick and choose which ones you like and which ones you don't. So yeah, that's about it. Warhammer 2, Mortal Empires, is still great. If I had to put numbers on it, if we're going rank by rank, Warhammer 1 is like a 4 out of 10, right as of now. When it was first released, it was a different score, but we're doing it now. Eye of the Vortex is like a 4 point. No, it's like a 5 out of 10. I could see you getting... It's better than Warhammer 1, but still got many flaws. Warhammer 2, Mortal Empires, 8.5 out of 10. It's just a lot of fun. And with all the variety and the different start positions, it's so good. Yeah, it sucks that there are many factions here, like the Demons of Chaos, Kislev, Cathay, they're not in it. The map is harshly cut off, like, what is this? And some of the AI is kind of incompetent, but it's still it's really fun. Oh yeah, and the endgame scenario sucks. In Warriors of Chaos in the first game were a minor threat somewhat. In this game, they're pathetic. They suck. Don't turn the Chaos Invasion off if you ever decide to play it. They really are terrible. So yeah, I think that's it. That is it's Albion with 3. Yeah, there's a lot of different start positions. Lizardman, Nakai the Wanderer starts there. So that's about it. And stay tuned for the next video, because the next one, I'm going to have a lot to talk about for the next thing I'm talking about. Oh no. See you guys.